Well, we've just had to get another episode of The Bad Batch come out, and boy oh boy oh boy was this one actually surprisingly good. The title, Into the Breach, kind of says it all, but oh brother, was it interesting to say the least. We know for a fact, oddly enough, that one thing for sure, Omega is incredibly resourceful, especially for a child of her age. Well, that's just what happens. And yes, she is incredibly intelligent. But I wonder if, for a fact, during her plans, as she made her plans to escape, that the good doctor, Dr. Carr, didn't actually plan in a way for that. You know, for her to get out and get the word out of what's been going on. There's only thing for a fact that Dr. Carr maybe have grown a conscience. Meanwhile, the Bad Batch, Crosshair, Wrecker, Hunter, and, oddly enough, Echo, who joins them later, have taken Rampart to an unknown planet we haven't seen before, but I think it might be a cloud city. Might be Bespin, maybe not, I can't really say. But what I did like about the whole thing is that, one, Rampart wants out, and according to their deal, he gave them all the information he knew about Tantiss, namely for a fact how to get there, but he doesn't say where. Of course, they know for a fact he's been to Tantiss, but he doesn't know where the coordinates are, and the ship gets the navigational coordinates on Lina from a station in the orbit of Coruscant. So they have to go right to the heart of the Empire to try and get the coordinates from the freighter or science ship that travels there, making the supply run. Also, what really surprises me about the whole episode, oddly enough, is the fact that Echo shows up and they decide to use a stolen shuttle and some pilfered identity codes. So they fly to the station and get aboard. The plan is straightforward and simple. After stripping their armor of its distinctive paint scheme and having Rampart basically play the role he was very good at in the first place, namely serving as a captain, because he was very admirable, but the best they could find was a captain's uniform. Maybe the captain of the shuttle himself, who they stole the shuttle from. And he now serves basically in the role of their stooge. His job is to get them onto the station and then get them to the ship. With the Bad Batch thinking for a fact, the ship gets the coordinates from the station itself, so of course they try and get the coordinates from the station itself, but that doesn't quite work out. And at the same time, before they even start, there's a lieutenant going like, well, the uniform is not regulation. Who are they? But Rampart says, my unit and division are classified. And that's just the lieutenant up. And then finally, I'm not sure, they get into the base, and Rampart uses his knowledge of Imperial regulations to basically put some stormtroopers sent into the barracks. But basically, I think reminding them of violating some sort of order somewhere that basically grants, I think basically means the fact they have to obey any order given if a certain officer or something classified shows up. Also, what I really liked about the episode in general, I think was the fact that just the amount of tension it had, with it building up very succinctly. You know, they try and get the coordinates out, which doesn't quite work according to plan. So of course they have to decide to actually get on board the ship itself and follow it that way. Meanwhile, Omega gets to know both her new friends, namely the girl who, oddly enough, has been playing with the doll that she made. And Omega's fine with that, oddly enough. I think basically she takes over as the role of Dr. Carr. And also, we get introduced to the other two. Funny enough, the girl who I thought was pretty much like, just keep my head down and I'll be fine, has basically become the caretaker of the toddler who was dropped off in the last couple of episodes. Namely, she is serving as the base. Basically, thing for a fact, the toddler, and oddly enough, the toys that Dr. Emily Carr has left out for them to keep their minds occupied is basically just a little something she can do, because I think Dr. Hemlock would pretty much just keep them in that environment, largely just to make it as dull as possible. But anyway, Omega, using a tool that she borrowed from Dr. Carr's trade when she was having a blood sample taken, she manages to pry open a panel, but one of Dr. Carr's colleagues, maybe even her immediate deputy, realises something isn't right and goes to investigate. And Omega manages to cut through one of the tiles and then dislodges several more, creating an aperture, I think, big enough for her to get out. And of course, she puts everything back in place very quickly and fools the scientist, or not completely fools that scientist. And when the other three older kids ask what she's done, she says for a fact she's found a way out. All they've got to do is figure out how, but they have to climb a very long shaft. Not easy. Now for Omega, this might be doable. I mean, she is quite possibly been running around most of her life. The other three, maybe. But they're going to have to but of course they're not going to leave the toddler behind. He's got possibly one of the few bright spots in the entire place. And at the same time, that's probably not in Omega's nature. What also, but at the very end of the episode, oh my god, was the tension ramping up. It was brilliant, to say the least. Now we got to see, basically, Echo try and get aboard the ship. It must have been one of the most securely guarded hangars. He nearly gets discovered by an astromech, and a loading droid, so a security droid that was used for the loading process, and a commando. He follows the droids aboard, goes up aboard the droid vacuum tube, and the clone commander, not sure what happens, someone forgot to retract the tube, retracts the tube, and then boards the ship. And then through a very, very tense sequence, literally coming down to the wire. Oh boy, very much down to the wire. My heart was pounding at the end of that sequence. And when Echo manages to hack the ship's proximity sensors, with Rampart going like, they're going to discover us, we're going to be killed. Just as the ship is just about to jump, Hunter slams the throttles forward, gets aboard and as close to the ship as he can, clamps on at the last second, and then the credits roll. Yeah, the Bad Batch are now on their way to Tantiss, building up to what basically will be the very dramatic season finale. Oh god, Bad Batch is going up with a bang, and I hope this is Bad Batch's last roundup, but oh my god, it is going to have been, I think out of all the seasons of the Star Wars The Bad Batch, the third has been the absolute best. Thus far, it's been dark, gritty. We've seen a few characters who should come back. I think in later Star Wars stories down the line come back. I hope Omega does get more stuff further on. I mean, she's clearly a very interesting character, as is Dr. Carr. Hemlock has certainly been an intriguing villain. The surprise reveal of Rampart and him being like all high and mighty and complaining about his place. Everything else. And just the fact, oddly enough, of just how much action and tension there's been throughout the entire season. Oh my god. It's building up to the finale. And if Season 2's finale is anything to go by, Season 3's finale, last couple of episodes, are going to be an absolute blast. I mean, they might miss each other yet again. We might get an episode in which they're all reunited. At the very least, it's going to be full of action. Someone is probably going to get killed. And they're going to save. And this is also quite possibly, and Bail Organa may even talk with Rex about the possibility of using what he started as a means to bring down the Empire. Maybe. I mean, Bad Batch is certainly going its way to explain a lot of things, which I think is quite good. I mean, it's putting pieces together that I think should have really been addressed earlier, and as a result, it's one of the strongest shows ever. Well, I've been the US for Challenger, so please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hope you enjoyed Bad Batch, I certainly did. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Cheerio!